we're just going to look at the reduce function in Python. Okay, so now what does the reduce function do in Python? Okay, so now the reduce function of a functool modules work in a similar manner, but it applies a given function cumulatively to all the elements in the given iterable. So now let's take a look at an example over here. So in here we have a selective import of the reduce function of the reduce from the functools. Okay, so when I run this code, it has been run. Now what the reduce does is that it takes in a function in an iterable, but the function takes in two parameters. Okay, that is what I'm going to demonstrate here, the count and the accumulator. Okay, so here we are just trying to have the concept of reduce. So here we are passing in many values over here. We are passing in a list of a sequence over here, and it is reducing it to a single number for us. So that is what the reduce also does. Now the count here, okay, is the final result, right? The count here is going to hold the final result, and the accumulator here is going to be is going to hold the next item in the list, okay, or in the sequence. So now let's look at this example over here. So we have a list of numbers over here, and we have the reduce function over here, and we have a lambda function or an anonymous function. So here we have two parameters, the s and a. So s stands for the sum and the a stands for the accumulator, and the reduce function takes in a third parameter, that is the initial value. Okay, so when you run the program initially, the sum is going to be set to 0, okay, and the accumulator is going to be set to 1. So now in the first stage it is going to be 0 plus 1. So let me demonstrate it here. So in the first stage, the sum, the s is going to be equal to 0, and the a is going to be set to 1. Then here there is just going to be it's just going to be something like this. We have 0, okay, 0 plus 1, and the result is going to be 1. Now this 1 is going to be given to the s. So now in here, okay, in here the x value is set to 1. Now in the next round, okay, the a, all right, the a in here, the a will be set to 2. Okay, so the a is going to be set to 2. So a is equal to 2. And now what it's going to do is that similarly this operation is going to continue. So now we're just going to have something like this. Okay, so we have something like this, and it's just going to be 1, okay, plus 2, which is going to be 3, and this 3 is going to be given to the s, right, the sum. So that is what is going to be done until all the numbers in the list has been added successfully together. So now when we run this, the current state of this s is 0, okay, and the accumulator or the accumulator will be set to 1. Now in here 0 plus 1 is going to yield 1. Now this 1 result is going to be given to the sum. So now the sum is no longer 0, it is 1. And in the next stage we are going to have 2. So 2 will be added to 1 and we'll get 3. Okay, then the 3 is going to be set to the s. Now the current state of the s is 3. Now we move on to the next stage, that is where the accumulator gets to 3. Okay, now 3 is added to 3, that is the current state, and it becomes 6. Okay, so in that manner it keeps accumulating the values until it is reduced to a single number. So now when this code is being run, okay, we see that we have 55. Now if I increase this to 11, okay, 11, we will see that we have 66. Okay, in that manner. So the first value here, or the first parameter here, is the sum, and the second parameter is the accumulator. So we are just going to perform the sum plus the accumulator, and we give it the iterable and also the initial value. Okay, now let's look at another example over here. Now another example over here is that we are just going to use the dictionary that we created over here, the employee dictionary, and now I want to sum up all the salaries of the individual employee inside our dictionary. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a variable called total salary, and I'm just going to pass the reduce function, give it an anonymous function, and I'm saying that this is the count of the salary and this is the accumulator. Okay, so at every stage I have a default value here, that is 0. Okay, so at every stage I'm just going to grab the salary of the employee and I'll add it to this count. Okay, now when I do that, I have a total of 660,000. Okay, that will be the summation of. So if you think it didn't do it right, okay, let me insert a cell below. Let me insert a cell below over here, and just let me go to the dictionary and copy this three values. So we have this. Okay, I'm just going to do this plus, and I'll also copy the 99,000. Okay, I'll also paste it here, and I'll copy the 87,000 over here, and I'll also paste it here. Now we see that when we sum up this, okay, we get the same output, which is 366,000. Okay, so this is one important use of the reduce. Okay, so the reduce is being used to reduce a sequence or a value into a whole number or a specific value or a value. Okay, now next up is we have another example over here. So we have a list of numbers that is 100. So meaning 100 is going to be a range of numbers from 0 to 99. What I'm trying to do is that I'm trying to sum up the numbers from 0 to 99 to accumulate it to a single number. So what I'm going to do is that I'm just going to write the reduce function, and I'm just going to give it two variables, that is the sum and the accumulator. And in each stage of the in each stage in this list, I'm just going to do the summation. Now you see that in here I didn't give it a specific start value, so let me give it 0. And now when we run it, it's just going to be, so assuming I made it 101. Okay, so the input is going to change. Okay, so this is how the reduce function work in Python.